I think.
All right, Pete, you're live.
All right.
There we go.
We're live. Welcome back, Ben. Welcome back to Bass University, everybody. We have straight line 50-mile-an-hour winds that apparently knocked our power down momentarily, and we lost everything. So we're glad to be back up. We've got Ben Milliken with us. If you happen to be just joining us, talking about his amazing top 10 finish in his first Bassmaster Open this season, and you know, we talked about a ton, Ben, and you invite you guys to go back and listen to all the deets on all of his patterns and things. But we were just knee deep in a conversation about guys, a controversial situation, guys out on a spot that you planned to fish during the tournament and couldn't get in there.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just kind of run through it quick. But the first day of the tournament, I was talking to Justin Barnes because he was staying a few houses down. He knew the guy that lived where we were, and Justin ended up winning the tournament. And we were talking, and he's like, man, I think we started talking. I found him here, and I'm catching him kind of like this. And I knew he was fishing offshore. And he's like, how deep are the fish that you're looking at? And I was like, probably like, one spot's like 18 to 22. And he's like, how many fish are in the school? And I was like, probably like 50 to 70. And he's like, yeah, I think we found the same fish. And I was like, I don't know the name of the creek. He's a local. He's like, and he said the name, and I showed him on my map. He's like, yeah. He said he was going there and he didn't really have much else. And I was like, all right, well, I got two schools. Well, I started on the one and caught a bunch of 3s and 4s. Well, he started on that one and caught 25 pounds and was leading the tournament.
Whoa.
But yeah, the next day, all that crazy stuff happened with the people yelling at each other and stuff. And like I was saying, I don't want to incriminate myself, but I don't know anything that's happened with anybody getting DQ'd or anything. They haven't made that public. And so I'm going to stay out of that, and we'll kind of talk about it once maybe if something does happen. But I pulled back in there at about 2:30, and I had known Tucker Smith from fishing that Bass Pro US Open tournament, and we kind of talked a few times since then. Well, Tucker was on the spot, and I pulled up, and it's kind of the same thing as I did with Gary, and I knew he had been fishing with other people there too. And so I said, is it cool if I kind of pull in and fish over here? And he's like, yeah, totally, man. I'm casting this whole area. You can fish over here for sure. And so I fished a little bit. He was catching a couple small ones at that point. He's like, it's all burned up. I can't catch them. And I was like, yeah, I can tell. And I didn't catch any. And I fished it for like 5 minutes. And I was like, I got other stuff to go fish. I'm out of here. And I was a late boat number that second day. And so I actually didn't have to be in until 5:40 or 5:20 or something, which is crazy. And I was like, when do you have to roll out of here? He said about 3 o'clock. I said, okay. So about 3:45, I rolled back in there and everyone was gone. And, the sun's like starting to go down and stuff. It's late afternoon. And I knew everyone had been throwing big crankbaits at them. And so I threw a crank like one cast and nothing would touch it. And I actually was able to pull out the old hair jig and get some of them pressured fish to bite. And I upgraded a few times there that I think I calculated it. Nice. I caught a 5.5 pounder 10 minutes before I had to go in or something, and that fish was a $7,000 fish for me because it was a 2.5 pound coal. So yeah, I was right there in the midst of all that crazy stuff going on, and it was a lot of people fishing next to each other in a couple different spots.
Did you hear the hollering and screaming? Were you that close to it?
No, luckily, when I was there, I think that had all happened already. Okay. And I was 3 miles away from there at that point. Yeah. But yeah.
What was your hair jig? Were you doing like the preacher jig style?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Big white, kind of feathered, no trailer kind of deal.
Yes, sir. I did chop it down a little bit. I like to cut some of the hair out of there because I really noticed that the fish were keying in on smaller bait. It seemed like I could not get a big bait bite the whole week, so I tried to make it as small as I possibly could, and they liked it.
Well, that's awesome. Did you have anything like could you have won the tournament? Did you have any mishaps? Did you fish clean, or how did that whole thing go for you?
Yeah, I fished pretty clean. Like I said, I think I could have won the tournament if I could have got to that spot first, or maybe if I didn't even have that conversation with Justin. We both could have. I'm sure we both would have fished it together if I would have beat him there, or if we would have both gone there. But I don't have any regrets or anything, man. The first day, I was kind of disappointed I had that 18 pounds because I had 17.9 pounds in like the first 40 minutes. And so I really felt like I missed an opportunity to get up in the low 20s that day. And then it really made me wish after the second day that it was a 3-day tournament and not cut down to 2, because I'm pretty positive I could have blasted another 22 at least off of some of those spots and kind of made a run for it.
What did you think about that? Did the wind actually blow? Was it actually nasty on the cancellation day, or not?
It was nothing like was predicted on every single weather database, unfortunately. And they said that they were more worried about the straight line winds like you guys are experiencing that were coming with the storm that was going to blow in, more so than just the 20-mile-an-hour winds they were predicting. But yeah, it was pretty much calm for the first 3 or 4 hours of morning, and then it picked up to like 15 or 20 for a little bit, and then it kind of went back down. In the afternoon it picked back up 15, 20, but nothing crazy ended up coming through. So it kind of sucked we weren't out there.
Yeah, I hate that personally. Like I hate when they cancel stuff on a forecast, because wind is the hardest thing in the world to forecast, and it seems like my tournaments that I've been involved with, it's never as bad as the forecast says. I think they're trying to sell commercials on the Weather Channel.
Definitely. I mean, think about how many people were tuning in in Eufaula, Alabama, looking at the weather that day.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yep. Well, nonetheless, amazing tournament. Props to you. Congrats on your debut. What's next?
Just fishing around here. Everything I'm going to be doing is to prepare for the Toledo Bend Open. So I'm dialed in, man. Not that I really have to fish too much differently with my filming and stuff in between to prepare me for that, because I'm down here. At least that's the closest open to me. It's only about 2.5 hours away. Nice. The fish act there a lot like they act at a lot of the lakes around here. So nothing out of the usual for me.
It's funny you say that, because I said earlier that the fish like to get offshore at Toledo or at Eufaula, and I've heard that same thing said about Toledo Bend. Those fish they just want to get offshore.
Yeah, I know they do. I went there the last day. I think it was Sunday before cutoff, and that's the only day I've ever been there before. So I have very little experience there. But they definitely act different. These Florida strains in these grass lakes act differently than anywhere I've found around the country. They definitely like to get on very certain pieces of cover and structure that I found them on the other day. And another big player with that is going to be the different phases of spawn, because it's again way different down here with these Florida strains in southern lakes. They can spawn from December until June at a lot of these lakes, whereas a lot of guys going into that event I know are going to say it's going to be a bed fishing or post spawn event, when that's not all necessarily going to be true, because they can come in all these different waves for 4 or 5 months.
And because there's such a big fish population, that's awesome that you're fishing lakes like that. And I can't wait. I'm going to be following this whole thing. I want to ask a couple questions. We had a lot of IM questions that everybody wanted to talk to you, and I know with our situation we kind of couldn't get to many of them. So I want to thank Frank and Chris Westbrook. I want to ask you this one though, because it's a simple one. Dan and Alan both want to know about a line through that you came out with. So I want what's your new line through, and where can people get it?
Yeah, unfortunately they can't. It's not going to be out until we're hoping for May or June release on that. It's going to be a really cool bait though. We're calling it the hangover swim bait because the hook hangs over the back of it. Is a top hook line through swim bait. And awesome. Yeah, people have seen me catching 10-pounders on it already on the prototypes. We're going to release it in, I think, eventually 3 different sink rates, but at the very least 2 to come out with. and I'm super pumped for it. I got one tied on right now. I'm probably honestly going to go catch a 10-pounder on it today.
Have you kept track? How many 10-pounders? How many double digits do you have?
Well, I kind of lost track. I stopped keeping track a little bit this year because I went through a stretch where I was catching a ton and I stopped weighing a bunch of them. But I don't know. I think as of December, I had caught like 42 in like 16 months or something.
Whoa.
So it's been good for sure.
That's amazing. That's amazing. What's your PB?
14.7.
14.7. That a Texas fish?
Yes, sir. Most of them are Texas fish. Yeah. I caught a 14.2. What was it? November? I think was it this spring? Maybe it might have been like January, February, but I had decided since I was fishing the opens, I'm not going to use a net anymore. And so I've just been lipping everything over the side of the boat to get used to it. And I reached down and grabbed that one, and I thought it was like a 11-pounder, 10, 11-pounder. And I was pumped about it, but I was like, whatever. I threw it in the live well for a little bit. I was like, I'll weigh it later. The school's fired up. And I threw it on there and it was a 14. I was like, oh God, I just lipped a 14-pounder.
That's so awesome, man. I'm envious of that. We spent a little time in Texas, and I want to give a shout out to the Share Lunker program that they're running there in Texas. Freshwater Fisheries doing such an amazing job at cultivating these giant fish down there. That seems like you're catching more of them than the rest of us.
Yeah, they're definitely down here, and if you know what to throw at them, they will eat. They're fun to catch.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'm going to let you go and let you catch some more. We're going to be watching that on the Opens. Look forward to bumping into you at the Opens Division 3. I guess we'll see each other down at Kerr Reservoir here in a couple.
I was gonna ask you that. I'm not familiar with what the divisions even are since I'm fishing all 9 of them. I just think about the next one. But is that Kerr and then St. Lawrence and what's the other one?
Watts Bar in September,
okay.
where if you catch 5 fish that week, I think from what they say, it'll be a good tournament.
It won't be that tough, Pete.
I hope not. But it's that September is a bear no matter where you go.
Yeah, we got Ozarks right after that too, and that's a great fishery, but it's also going to be tough there. Yeah,
no doubt. Well, we'll be rooting for you, man. I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple months.
Yeah, whenever you want me on, Pete. I really appreciate you guys' time and everything you guys do.
Hey, thanks so much. Right back at you. If there's anything we can do for you, I mean, please don't hesitate to reach out. Appreciate you putting up with the power outage, and good luck the rest of the year. We'll catch up with you soon, Ben.
Thanks. I'll send you a picture of a 10-pounder in like an hour.
Don't. I will be so upset. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Oh, man, that was great. The great Ben Milliken. Man, just shocking. I guess maybe not so shocking to come out and just crushing the first Open and starting off, man, in great shape to try to make the elite qualification with the Bassmaster Opens. That's so cool. By the way, we're still doing a Facebook like and share. By the way, Josh, I'm going to need a winner of that at some point here in the next couple of minutes. And so if you haven't liked and shared the feed, take your opportunity to get that done. And we also are going to be giving away a trivia question, which if you could work with Rich and get me that trivia question right now would be a good time. And we're going to be watching that. I want to remind you guys, we're brought to you by Tackle Direct. We're in Tackle Direct Studios here at the Bass University. We're going to be giving away a pair of Hobie sunglasses for the winner of our trivia question. So you guys want to wait for that? Are you ready for it?
Yep.
Yo, they're prepared. I thought we were going to be. Jocelyn's preparing the like and share winner right now. She's going. So hurry up, like and share the feed. Last chance. So go ahead. Can you read the question, Justin?
Yep. So what is the name of Ben's rig? Meaning the little setup he was talking about that he came up with his own name for.
What is the name of that rig that he is somewhat crediting himself for designing that rig? He talked about that he did play a role in the design of that, used it to catch fish in a certain way, and it had a really cool name. It kind of Rich blew his hair back, and he had to stop what he was doing because that was pretty cool. I had never heard it at that name before either.
Yep.
And it's a 2-word name.
We got the winner for that already.
Oh my gosh.
They got it fast.
They got it fast.
So E plus Luke got it first, the hover juggle.
The hover juggle. And that's the key is, and I want you guys to, tune in for that component of it, that even it's in the name of this bait is the hover. A lot of the baits that guys are using to catch fish off their forward facing sonar have that hovering, right? That hovering component, that ability to stay where they need it to stay for a little bit longer to allow those fish that they're seeing on forward facing sonar to be able to keep it in front of their nose, to be able to keep it up on top of them a little bit longer suspended so that the fish can come and take that bait. So by rigging it the way he rigs it, which is the bait, the hook is slightly behind the nose with a nose weight. It almost makes a wacky worm. He was talking about that, and it allows that bait to hover just a little bit longer. So that's pretty awesome. Hover Joe, congratulations for the winner of that prize. Jocelyn, you're joining me?
We do.
That lady is joining
That lady has joined. We have a like and share winner. It's Ben Purvis.
Ben Purvis. Congratulations. We're going to hook you up with some cool waterwood baits. And
yeah, I just real quick want to bring something up. So
you look like you had something to bring. Here,
did.
come on over.
I'm coming. All right, so I'm new to bass fishing, as everyone knows, but some things really bother me. The things you learn, like match the hatch and make sure the bait looks real, and that's what they go for. When I was reading the Bassmaster, this guy, Koyo Kujito, almost won on a fuzzy dice.
He did. It's exactly what that is. It's a fuzzy dice. It's a cube with like rubber strands sticking out of it.
You guys are just all confusing at this point now.
We do make it more complicated than it needs to be sometimes, but that's pretty freaking complicated.
It's only a prototype though, so I don't know if it's out yet, but
yeah, we've seen. One of the coolest things that I saw, I can't remember the name of the bait. Oh my gosh, but it's awesome. It was they play hide and seek, kind of like the cat mouse game. But they have a bait that you throw on a spawning bed, and it's kind of like a shell, and the bait floats up, and then they pull it back in.
Oh, that's unfun.
They let it full, and the bass comes over, and they pull it back in, and it just aggravates the fish into biting. It's way off the charts.
In real life, when the guy chasing the girl and playing tease, and then you try and go grab them.
I kind of like that.
But this drove me nuts.
Yeah, that is unique. Can you post that picture?
I can. Yeah, I'll send it to. I don't know how to get it on there right now, but I'll send it to Rich. But
yeah, pardon us because we can. You know what? There you go. Let's go. Let's go down and dirty, baby. That's how we do it when we lose our power and the whole studio shuts down. But that's what it looks like. It is crazy, man. It's just a little rubber cube with rubber skirt hanging off of it. Guys,
I wonder what made him think of designing that though. What was the purpose around that? What was he trying to mimic?
What we follow in trends in baits, Josh, is really kind of tricky or interesting, really. Like we started down the road of spoons, and they had some early prototypes of crankbaits. This just kind of, to me, lets me know that we've just scratched the surface on what will trigger a fish to bite. And that's really all we're trying to do. We're so often caught up with matching the hatch, making something that looks like a crawfish, a bluegill, a shad, even a bird that falls in the water, right? We're matching the hatch.
Little ducks.
Yeah, the food chain. Mm-hmm. But bass's brain is tiny, right? What else? And they're what's the word? They will feed on whatever is available to them by nature, right? They're a predator, but they're a capitalistic feeder. Whatever's available. So, what are the things that can trigger them? I bet you that's one of a million new lures and things that we're going to find out here, especially with forward-facing sonar. This is just throw a Senko, Rich said. But that was made after a pen, right? The Senko was molded after a pen, and that's probably the most effective lure ever. So with forward-facing sonar, we talked about this with Ben. You can see the fish react to the presentation, and you can adjust so much more quickly. So new lures, new concepts, you can get them into the schools, see how they behave, see how they react. Who knows what's coming down the pike? But a new series of lures, I think, is on its way, starting with the hairy cube or whatever the fuzzy.
The hairy cube. It's
Whatever.
called the candy.
The candy. Okay. Well,
But it's weird.
guys, next week we're going to be leaving for the classic, but we're going to have a classic preview show. We're going to be talking about Teleco Loudon. We're going to be going down the road of who's going to win, what the patterns could possibly be. Is it going to be a deep water pattern? Is it going to be a shallow water pattern? What do you think? Well, we're going to be next Tuesday talking about that, and we'll let you know all the deets on that show. Appreciate you guys watching, and thank you, Ben Milliken, for being with us. Really appreciate it, and we will see you